the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper, fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. Now I'm going to stop right here. Okay? They say the dragons are a myth and they're not really real. Okay? Let's go back to this verse and look at it. First of all, it mentions a lion. Are lions real? Yeah, they're real. The lions are real. It also mentions a viper, a snake. Are snakes real? Yeah. Later on, it mentions asses, which is the Bible word for donkey. Are donkeys real? Yeah. And it mentions camels. Camels are real. So we have a lion, a snake, a donkey, and a camel, and they're all mentioned, and right in the middle of them is a fiery, flying serpent dragon. So, if you believe that 4 of these are real, then it's okay to believe that the 5th one was real too. And God created them, and Job saw them, and he knew what they were, because they were created on the same day of creation as mankind, and they existed at the exact same time. My theory today, my Bible fact is that man walked with dinosaur. And I'm giving you the scriptures that seem to indicate that this was so. We have all the stories from all civilizations of the earth that not only told these stories, but we're going to see later on, they took pictures of them. In their own way. But they made pictures of these dinosaurs that they saw. So the idea is, from the scriptures, did man walk with these gigantic reptilian animals? Yes. Is there proof other than the Bible? You should go to Glen Rose, Texas. There's a creek down there. It's a river. That, you know how some rivers are, they have a lot of water flowing through them at certain times of the year, and sometimes of the year they're just a little bitty stream. There's a riverbed in Glen Rose, Texas that has a slab foundation in part of it, and very interesting is that in this slab foundation you have dinosaur footprints. Now remember fossils. Okay? And they say that fossils came about as a result of something dying, being embedded in the ground, and 14 million years later it hardened enough and turned to stone. Now, you need to remember something. In that, when something dies and falls on the ground and is embedded in the mud, the exact perfect image of that doesn't remain for very long. It corrupts, and it turns into goo, and it turns into nothing, and there's just nothing left of it anymore. What would explain the fossilized remains of millions of dead things laying all over the earth? I'll give you an illustration here. Let me use a book here. Okay, let's say that this is an animal that died. And let's say that a gigantic worldwide flood with billions and billions and billions of gallons of water was laying right on top of it. And just in a matter of days, weeks, less than a year, the pressure of that water compacted on top of that dead thing, compacted it so hard and infused it with so much silt and rock that the pressure upon that thing literally fossilized it in a matter of days. What would you expect to see if there was a worldwide flood? Millions of dead things fossilized all over planet Earth. And here we have photographic evidence. You can go there right now and see it. That here we have dinosaur tracks going this way, man tracks walking in the same direction, overlaying one another. Man and dinosaur, actually in one of them you have a human foot embedded in the dinosaur track. Fossilized, photographic, historical evidence that a large reptilian behemoth creature and a man walked down the same muddy area one day, left their footprints, the flood came, fossilized them within a matter of days, preserving the record for us so that we would know that man walked with dinosaur. Now, here's one of the dinosaurs that I actually know. In fact, I was going to name some of the dinosaurs that I know of, like Tyrannosaurus rex and Plesiosaur and Brontosaurus and Triceratops and Stegosaurus and all of those dinosaurs that you saw in Jurassic Park. There's one called Plesiosaur, and Plesiosaur was this massive sort of. It lived in water. It didn't have legs. The skeletal structure tells us that it didn't have legs that were good enough to walk around very much on land, so we know that it had giant flippers and it lived inside the water. And this is like an artist's rendering of what a plesiosaur would have looked like based upon the fossilized skeletal remains. Remember fossils, the fossilized skeletal remains of such animals. So I want you to take a look at this. Because the Aboriginal tribespeople of far north Queensland, Australia, years ago captured a creature called Yaru. Looks like they killed it. It has the exact same body as that of a plesiosaur. And it looks like that they drew a diagram of its digestive tract. Here is what in their eyes would be photographic evidence. They memorialized in this graphic this story of their people killing a giant Leviathan-like sea-going creature that we would call a sea monster nowadays, or a dragon, but it looks almost identical to that of a plesiosaur. What we have here then is a picture of man and dinosaur together exactly the way the Bible says. You've heard of the Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster, now I understand that the photographs of Loch Ness Monster probably are fake, but so many people have seen the Loch Ness Monster, and they all give the same description of that of a plesiosaur. Several expeditions have gone to Loch Ness, one of which took a picture of this, a flipper that looks like the flipper of a plesiosaur. Here is another image taken underwater of something that looks an awful lot like a plesiosaur. And then we have our buddy Champ up in Lake Champlain. Many people have seen this. One family on vacation back in the early 1970s was taking pictures of the family up against the lake with one of these Polaroid cameras and happened to take a picture of what a lot of people who have seen this thing says, that's what I saw. It looks like a plesiosaur, a dinosaur that shouldn't. They say these dinosaurs, these plesiosaurs, were extinct 65 million years ago, and yet here they are. Here's a photograph taken in Monterey Bay, California in 1925 of this gigantic, looks like a dinosaur creature that washed ashore back in 1925. Here's another one taken in 1970, Manshill Beach, North Carolina, the rotting carcass of what looks like a plesiosaur. Back around this same time, Japanese fishermen patrolling off the coast of Australia pulled up in their nets the rotting carcass of what looks like a plesiosaur. They took several pictures of it. They couldn't keep the carcass because it would ruin their load of fish. They took pictures of it and threw it back into the ocean. They brought the pictures back and said, we don't know what this is, but this is what we found. An animal that should be dead, extinct 65 million years ago, a rotting carcass brought up for all people to see that maybe the scientists were wrong. Scientists were wrong about a fish called the coelacanth. Coelacanth was known or believed to have become extinct 65, 70 million years ago. And yet some of these Japanese fishermen again caught a live one. And now we know that the coelacanth still exists today. Is it possible that scientists are wrong? Is it possible that man and dinosaur lived together at the same time? Well, we've seen some pictures that look like they're dinosaurs. We've seen what the Aboriginal tribe of Australia, what they drew on their wall of what looks like a plesiosaur. Then we have this. Of course, this is not a real picture of a brontosaurus. This is just an artist's rendering of what a brontosaurus looks like based upon the skeletal